This is the Tropic Pianist Gamers podcast, episode 70. Today I'm welcoming my guest Hali. Hali, would you like to introduce yourself properly and say what you do?
Hiya, Jen. Yes, I'm Hali. I'm basically a creative business strategist. So I work with businesses to help them bring out their creativity, which helps them in turn in their business. But I also work with just the general public as well in the way of helping them bring out creativity in in them, especially if they think they're not creative. I do like to call myself a bit of a jack of all trades, and that's why I'm starting to work with a lot of people that are a bit more multi-passionate and just can't seem to just figure out the one thing that they want to do, because they like to do quite a few things. And I'm trying to flip the script on that that's not always a negative thing.
Yeah, I could have done with that a couple of years ago myself, as a multi-passionate myself. I have found my niche now, about 10 years later, but we get there eventually. So, what led you to that path? What's your backstory?
Yeah, so my backstory is a lifetime of being in creative industries, basically. So I started out at a very young age of 18 as a photographic makeup artist and a theatrical makeup artist. So I started off in that kind of creative industry. Then I had children, and the lifestyle of doing theatrical makeup and stuff just didn't really work with having a young family. So I took my skills and became a cake artist instead, and won some international awards and built up quite a big cake business basically. Um, and then from that, I got bored because, I'm ADHD and like I said, jack of all trades. I like to do a lot of different things. I like to have my hands in a lot of pies. Um, got bored with that. So after about 15 years of being, an award-winning cake artist and baking for James Martin on the TV and doing lots of fun things, I decided that I would just take my sort of creative skills and just start painting. And it was something that I loved doing as a child, but I think you might resonate with this, but creativity kind of gets knocked out of us as we grow older, and it's not prioritized in our life and in society, and it kind of feels a bit like one of those nice to have, nice to do kind of things. But I ended up having a mental breakdown quite a few years ago, in the midst of a quite a horrendous divorce, and finding abstract art basically saved my mental health. And so I ended up being quite good at it. So me being me and being a bit of a jack of all trades, decided, well, let's just see if I can sell some of these as well. So then I had quite a nice bit of sort of extra income coming in from selling paintings, and I just realized that actually I've spent all my life trying to fit this one thing that I should be doing and finding my one thing. And actually it's just not me. So instead of keep fighting it, how about I honor it and honor the journey that I've been through to get to this point? The fact is, I'm a creative. And if you're a creative, you probably do like doing quite a few things because your brain constantly needs that stimulation. And I was never going to be someone that could sit at a desk 9 to 5. And I did it a little while for part-time work especially when I was going through a divorce and I needed the income coming in. But it was never going to be my life and my career. So I've just kind of ended up thinking, okay, it's fine. It's fine to do a lot of things. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just making sure you know what you're prioritizing and where, income's coming in, and making sure you're not just flitting from things to things.
Yeah.
If you do it with a strategy, there's nothing wrong with, being a jack of all trades. And on that note, I just want to say, in case anybody is listening and knows about the saying of jack of all trades, master of none, the rest of it is, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And a lot of people don't know the rest of that saying because it kind of ends at that point where it's telling us it's a negative thing.
Yeah.
So so I'm just trying to get more people to open up to the idea that it's okay to do a few things.
Yeah, and that's me all over. I do at least six different things for our business, so I keep
Yeah.
adding to it as I go along.
But
Um,
it's what keeps it fresh for you.
yeah,
If that's if you are a multi-passionate, multi-potentialite, if that's what you love doing, then you need to honor that part of you because otherwise you then do become quite stagnant and stale in business. And it becomes hard to then move forward. It's just about knowing which bits to prioritize, isn't it?
yeah, it's all about, but yeah, you got to focus on one thing at a time, but you can do multiple things in the real time. But if you want to get results, you have to focus on one thing at a time. That's one thing I've
Absolutely.
learned in the last couple of years.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is so true. And that's the tricky bit I think that some people find quite hard because then they get quite overwhelmed if they have a few things going on. So another little sort of key thing that I've had to learn over the years is to learn when to park things and come back to it.
Yeah,
Because, especially if you've got like 100 ideas coming through all the
yeah,
time, then you need to know, you need to be able to go, that's a brilliant idea. It's just I don't have the capacity and the bandwidth right now for it, but it's something I definitely want to come back to, rather than just saying no or just saying yes. Just
yeah.
being able to go, it's a maybe, and let's just park it for now and see how I feel tomorrow.
So, what's your current focus then?
So my current focus is, well, I say we should have one focus. I actually have two focuses going on at the same time.
Yep,
So
same.
I I set up Bake Boss Academy a few months ago, and that is for bakers and cake makers and cake artists. Who are not too familiar with the business side of things. So they're very creative and they're great at doing all the baking and everything, but they're finding they're not able to profit still. And often it's because of the lack of maybe business skills that they might have. So it's very much tailor made to them. So I created a course for that a few months ago, and recently did a launch for that. And I'm just about to open up the membership for that space. And then the other thing that I focus on at the moment is I'll be launching my new membership called Jack in January. So it is about being a jack of all trades, but it also brings in my framework, which is honoring your journey, having something that is in alignment with you, absolutely making sure you prioritize creativity. And then after that, we follow that with the know-how of how to do the things and the systems and everything. So that's why, it's Jack. So it's journey, alignment, creativity, and know-how. And that membership opens in January. So I'm just sorting out the launch for that at the moment.
Cool. Sounds exciting. Um, so how do you know what to prioritize or focus on? How do you choose?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? I always say choose the two things that make it the easiest way to decide is what do you currently need more? Does your mental health need prioritizing right now, or does your finances need prioritizing? One of them is going to have to be parked, not parked as in like leave it completely, but one of them's going to need to be prioritized. Unfortunately, as we all know, in creative industries, it's not we can't just say, I charge this much for something. It's a lot more complex than that. It will be down to your experience. It will be down to your skills and your talent, and you know your self-worth as well. I think you grow as you do it more, you end up being able to charge more and feel like you can charge more. So sometimes if you're in if say for instance you really need finances right now, and finances have to be a priority, there may be something in your skill set that you can bring forward that can bring in a cash injection into your business. And that's maybe what you need to focus on for a few months. Um, on the flip side, if finances are okay and your business is ticking over, but you're not getting that feeling of you're fully in alignment with your business, you're not getting that joy factor from everything you're doing, then we maybe need to prioritize something that's going to bring that back in for you, and have a look at that. And it's not great to always just think mental health or finances. I understand that, but it is real world. I'm just someone that I don't do BS. So let's just, I've been through a horrendous divorce where I was left sort of homeless with three children. So I had to prioritize finances. My mental health had to, although I was trying to look after it, I really had to keep the roof over my children's head. And that became a priority. So sometimes in life, I think we have to just decide what really is the priority right now. And I know we all would like to have everything, but sometimes we do just need to prioritize what we really need in that moment. And it's okay if if it is mental health, that's the thing that needs to be prioritized, then that's okay. So we need to look at things that we can bring in to make sure you're feeling at your best and you're able to bring that joy back into your life again.
Cool. What if you're someone who is feeling low because of mental health and doesn't know what lights them up? Where do you start?
Okay, so that's where I tend to bring in. I have another framework called Bold, and I will work with people depending on where they are in their journey. So if they are feeling great and they just want, that mental health's not an issue right now, we just really need to crack on with business stuff, then we'll look at more of the business strategy kind of stuff. If we're nowhere near that yet because we're not in the best place to be doing that, and that's one thing that I think is really important for people to honor as well. If they're not in the space to be going all in on their business, that's okay. Let's get you to that point first. And what I tend to do is I use my abstract art techniques with people to help them come out of that feeling of, whether it's that they're just feeling low and they don't know what it is. It could be, mental clutter that they've got going on. It could even be like a creative block that's in the way. So we can decode some of that. Um, but what we try to do is just break through I don't know, are we sweary on this podcast or not?
Try
But
not to.
try not to break through the BS, break through
Yeah,
the rubbish, break through the crap. Let's find the truth of what's really the issue. And it could be that it's you know, it could be sort of things that they've talk themselves into, almost that they're not artistic and they're not creative, because my belief is that every human is creative. We're born
yeah,
creative. We just need to find the things that help us to bring that out. And the good thing about abstract art is you don't have to be good at art to do it. You just have to have an open mind to try it.
yeah,
Um, and you'll be surprised at the stuff you can create. So abstract art works as a really good way to so I also do a little bit of art therapy with people as well. But abstract art is a really great way to start that because there's no rules, and you can be as free as you like to choose. You go with what your intuition's telling you, what your instinct is, whether it's to pick up the green paint or the red paint or the purple paint, whatever you feel at that moment. Um, so we tend to sort of look at things that are maybe they're struggling with. And it could be things like imposter syndrome, procrastination, perfectionism, comparisonitis. It could be just generally that crap's going on in their life and they just need somewhere to dump that without having to sort of verbalize it.
Yeah, so it's like a brain dump, but art.
Yes,
I might
exactly.
get along better with that because I can't do a
Yeah.
brain dump in words.
You know what? Neither can I. I can write well. But I really have to, it's not necessarily an inner, it's not like I'm pulling out my inner emotions with
Yeah,
words. I find
same.
that quite tricky. And that is why abstract art became something that saved me, really. Um, because there was no rules, there was no right or wrong to it. But it also meant I could literally do, like you said, a brain dump, but with shapes and with colors and with textures. Um, and there's something really satisfying about scraping paint off with a palette knife when you're feeling a bit agitated, and all those little things that you can actually do that you don't realize you're dealing with an emotion whilst you're sort of being creative, basically.
Yeah. So there are lots of different ways to do brain dumps, which is quite new to me, but I
Yeah.
can understand how many like different options there are for art as well, just as a field. It's
Yeah.
like music therapy is my thing, but
Yes.
you've got different ways of experimenting with music, but I think art has got a wider canvas of what's possible too.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much, isn't there? There's so much you can do with create. I think the thing is what we've lost is the sort of prioritizing that actually as a human we have to be creative
Yeah,
in life. So also, when we have this buildup of, for instance, anxiety, it's just because we haven't, there's no outlet. We haven't found the outlet. Now, for
yeah.
some people, like you said, music therapy, there's obviously also, we have drama therapy, we have dance therapy, and art therapy is the same. It's just finding that thing that, I wouldn't ever kill anyone's ears with my trying to sing or anything, but even singing for some people can be a form of therapy. It's and baking even, for instance, something that is creative that we can kind of just leave our day-to-day stresses for that moment is I think it's really important to make sure we prioritize that in our daily lives.
Cool. So if someone was looking to work with you, where did they find you?
Yeah, so they can head over to my website. So it's halijafari.com. So that's HALIJAFARI.com. And there's lots of ways there where they can contact me and find me. And also I'm on social media, on Instagram as Creative Biz Strategist and Facebook just as Hali Jafari. There's not many Hali Jafaris. If you type Hali Jafari in, I do come up. So it's sometimes good having a bit of a funny name. But yes, there's lots of ways. I tend to work with people in the way that helps them. So having the balance between creative therapy and obviously business strategy, depending on what it is that you need at that time, um, I can probably work with you somehow.
Where are you based?
So I'm based in Bristol.
So quite far away from me then.
I am based in Bristol. I tend to do a lot of my work online, but I
Okay.
do in-person sort of abstract art days and things here and there. Again, when I'm feeling the pull to bring that in, and that'll probably be twice a year where I'll do like an in-person abstract art day. But I really do run my business on gut instinct and intuition. Definitely a jack of all trades.
Great. So thanks for being my guest today. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation and all the
It's been
best in
great. Thank you so much.
your ventures.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jen.